Good morning, everyone.
Hello. Good
Hey there.
morning.
We have Deb joining us this morning. Hey, Deb, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good.
Excellent. And where are you?
Deb is our
where are you
member
saying
of the
hello
week.
from, Deb?
Well,
Where are you saying
I'm
hello
from the Chicago. I'm saying hello from the Chicago area,
Oh, nice.
the southwest suburbs
Oh, good.
of Chicago.
Look. Great.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for joining.
Yeah.
And
Great to
thank
have
you,
you.
everyone in the chat.
Yeah, so we have 17 off the bat. Maybe are some still watching the funeral of the Pope's funeral, or is that over by now?
I think Anne is watching that, but
Okay.
she would tell us.
John Tyler from Ireland. Rick Cleland, who lives in Ontario here. Hey there, Rick.
Oh.
Victor, good time zone to you. Judith Fry is here. Chris Ferriolo. How you doing, Chris? Holly, Susie Carta, Lisa from Ottawa.
Hi, Lisa.
Which makes sense to me. Doesn't make sense to you, probably.
Your neighbors.
That's right. Murray Maloney, another Canadian, Ontario. Wow, we've got lots here from Canada and Ontario as well represented.
Great.
And Fiordalisi, of course, and then Tracy Carnas from Texas. Hello.
Hi, Tracy. Oh, thank you, Anne. Only communion.
That's great. Yes. Well, speaking of funerals, I'm here in the church office because I have to play. Because I have to play for a funeral at 11 o'clock. So I'm only going to be here for about the first half, and then I have to post the numbers, go up to the choir loft, start playing the pipe organ and whatnot. Yeah, I'm doing a mob hit. Yeah, that's right. My violin case.
Funeral, right?
That's right. That's right. It's funny because as the church musician, I always get notification, are you free this day to play for a funeral? And lately there's been a lot of, I'm wondering if cremations are more popular or just happens more often, but sometimes the funeral date they book you is like a month or two in advance. I'm thinking, are they planning something in the future so that they know this person?
Wow, that's strange.
I know, it's kind of dark.
Hi, Asher. And you have your playlist, right?
I have my playlist, yes. I just printed it off right before
so organized.
So I'm all organized. Now, the problem is I'm only on my one laptop. I don't have my two other external monitors. So when I come to share my screen, so I guess we can start with that now, eh?
Yes, we'll start with Greg because he has to leave earlier.
Usually, lately, we've been leaving me till the end so that no matter how long I make the profiles, it doesn't actually impact anyone else. But I'm going to have to.
I'll check my connections.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Oh, wait a second. Let me see before I do that. Where is my connections? Because that was say.
Deb, do you have your connections open? Your to play connection checkers with us? I suggest you to look to go to your profile, and then you'll see that down below.
Okay. Let's see now.
Oh,
I'm going.
We lost Deb's video.
Oh, did I turn her off? I didn't turn her off. She must.
No.
Okay.
No, it was me. My computer is having problems.
Oh, never mind.
It's never been on StreamYard before.
Oh.
It feels strange.
It's strange. Okay, so here is my profile. So
I'll turn it back on in a second.
Oh, great. There you are.
Okay, so is that big enough? Can you read that enough?
Yes, I can read that.
So when you go to the bottom of the categories, wait a second, where it is. You'll see. So now I'm on Safari, and on Safari, I have re-enabled the WikiTree browser extension because one of the things I just can't live without is the way they organize the list of connections.
Yes.
So you can see who you're related to, and it's all nice sorted list here, which is very cool. And so my closest is a 14 degrees. As far as 32 degrees, Louis Armstrong, great musician.
Oh,
so far away. But so what about you two? Vicki, what's your range?
They go from 18, which is a tie between Buster Keaton and Evelyn Waugh. And the more distant is, I guess, Louis Armstrong, 38.
Okay.
I'm looking mine up. It's gonna
okay.
take
You're looking yours up.
Check at the bottom of your profile.
Right. And you can, if you click on the degrees, it actually gives you the
connection path.
Yeah. Which is cool. I'm going to come back to this chart in a sec because there's something really cool about the connections this week that I just found.
Let's see.
Okay, where is the page that has all? There they are. So many tabs open.
Okay, mine goes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I found my page. I go from 15 for F. Scott Fitzgerald to 30 for Louis Armstrong and Bertolt Brecht.
Oh,
nice.
Okay.
Nice.
And we have Betsy. Good morning, Betsy.
Be late. Hi, everyone. Welcome back.
Hi.
Congratulations on Member of the Week.
Thank you.
I'm drinking a Tim's. Can you see that?
I can. Tim Hortons.
Yes.
Hortons.
That's like your.
I have my WikiTree mug.
Yes, I've got. I'm doing half coffee, half hot chocolate this morning to give me energy to get through the live cast and then the funeral I have to play for. So
enough sugar and caffeine.
You got it, Greg.
Caffeine, yes. All the primary ingredients. That's right. Okay, great. So yeah, so the theme for this week for the Connection Checkers game is the Roaring 20s, which is very cool. And we've got 12 very cool profiles that we're going to go through. The biggest one, or the famed author, the keynote one, or whatever you want to call the person they put first, is F. Scott Fitzgerald, and he's most famous. He's famous for a lot of things. He's a great writer, but his most famous book is The Great Gatsby. Now, are you folks familiar with The Great Gatsby?
Yep.
I had to read it. Cool.
I just have the book. I haven't read it.
Okay. And well, have you seen them? There's been a couple movies based on it. I don't know if you've seen either of those. But anyways, one of the main characters in the book, besides Jake Gatsby himself, is his love interest, Daisy. And the cool thing about when I was checking my closest person in this list is Bertha Crawford, 14 degrees. And I pulled this up to see how I was connected. And then all of a sudden, boom, the name Daisy jumped out at me. I have a Daisy in my list. Now, it's not Daisy Buchanan. That's the name of the character. It's actually Daisy Miller.
Daisy Viola.
What's that?
Daisy Viola.
That's right.
Those are flower names.
That is a neat name, Daisy Viola.
Yeah. And remember, our theme for the profile makeover is flowers. So
yes. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, you know what? I'm pretty sure that she was. Let's just go into hers. I had worked on her and her family at one point. First, when Connection Checkers first came out, they were a link in the chain, but there was some information missing, so I had to find some records and add that. And I don't know if it was Daisy's or one of her siblings or parents, whatever. But ever since I've done that, I've had a few more closer connections, and they often have gone through her family. But I'm not. But
Greg, she's an orphan. You should adopt her.
I should adopt her, yeah, because she is a relative, or she's married to a relative. Because Overland is my maternal grandmother's maiden name. Yeah. So that is. Yeah, those Luther and Marinda are my great grandparents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's cool. I should adopt her. Oh, why don't I just do that right now? Look how easy it is.
Show everyone how to adopt. If it says no profile manager.
Oh, there it goes. You added you as a manager.
Yay.
That's like you added you. Anyway, so there we go. So we again, look, we just started and we've already distracted. This is not looking well to getting out of here by 10:30.
We're adopting live.
That's right. Okay, so let's start with Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald. Born in 1896 in St. Paul, Minnesota. Passed away at the young age of 44 on the 21st of December 1940 in Hollywood, Los Angeles.
Right.
So if you recognize that first, his names, his four names before his surname, that name might seem familiar to you, Francis Scott Key. He's rather important. He's a rather important musician, right, Betsy?
Absolutely, yes. The Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, very cool. Who happens to have been a cousin, second cousin, where was it? Second cousin 3 times removed. So it's, not a super close cousin, but he was still a relative. And that's what he was named after. So it wasn't a coincidence.
Oh.
So they're actually cousins. So that's who he was named after. His father was a wicker furniture salesman, then worked for Procter & Gamble, moved back and forth from Syracuse, West Virginia, and Buffalo. He had 1 sibling. His mother adored him as no one other ever would. It's just kind of funny. Intelligent, determined young man. She sent him to 2 Catholic schools in Buffalo, Holy Angels Convent and Narden Academy. Then he wrote a detective tale for the school newspaper, starting off his literary career early. Moved to Hackensack, New Jersey, where he met a priest who was one of the first to recognize but also encouraged his skills. He also played football on the high school football team. Went to Princeton and got cut from the football team after 1 practice.
Oh no, that must not have been.
That probably worked out well because of he may not have had as much time to write if he had to divide his time between the football field and the writer's den.
True.
But apparently he wrote so much that his other classes failed, and he dropped out of university.
Oh dear.
Wow.
He joined the army and actually worked under Dwight Eisenhower before he became president, which is kind of a neat connection there. Then he married Zelda Sayre, though their marriage sounds like it was a bit rocky. And shortly after The Great Gatsby was published in 1925, her health deteriorated and she was institutionalized, which was sad. But he was also famous as a group, including Hemingway and T.S. Eliot, who started an expat community in post-war Paris, and then passed away there in Hollywood. There we go. In the middle of writing his last novel, The Last Tycoon. So, I don't know, did the novel get finished? I don't know any details about that.
That name doesn't sound familiar.
There's
so many. I find it fascinating with both music and books. If the creator passes mid-creation, sometimes people have, or maybe pupils of the person have attempted to finish the work, but it only that would be a daunting task to take on. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So anyway, literary great, and definitely one connected with the 20s, especially considering, the one he's most notable for, The Great Gatsby, which is all, set in the age of flappers and all that. So moving right along, another musical great, Louis Armstrong, Louis Daniel Armstrong, born in New Orleans, 4th of August, 1901. Passed away at the age of 69 in 1971, July 6th, in Queens. And look, his first wife was also a Daisy.
Hey.
Name's just going to keep going up.
Full of daisies.
It's a sign.
This one, and so his nickname was Satchmo. Lots of people knew him by that. Of course, he was a trumpeter, composer, vocalist, one of the most influential figures in the history of jazz. Just a great musician. Mm-hmm. He claimed to have been born on the 4th of July, and his gravestone says that, but apparently the Sacred Heart of Jesus Catholic Church disagrees and said that his date of birth was in fact the 4th of August. That sounds like one of those myths that you'd like to perpetrate about yourself.
Right.
Unfortunately, his father abandoned him not long after he was born. He was raised mostly by his grandmother. He attended a school for boys in a racially segregated system in New Orleans. Given jobs, the number of these profiles are really long and very detailed and give an excellent, really detailed account of the person's life, which is just great. At the age of 11, he dropped out of school. I just think about that. Like, that is just so wild, that so young, dropping out of school. And
was it because he had to work to earn money for survival, or?
Well, he joined a group of boys who were singing and playing music in the streets. So presumably, he got some money from that, I would guess. But he fired a blank shot into the air using his stepfather's gun without permission. So it's the blank, so it wouldn't hurt anyone. Mm-hmm. Because he did that without permission, he was immediately arrested and sent to detention. So, that's pretty swift.
Wow.
Yeah. Registered for draft, married, never did have children, but of course started his own band, played cornet and trumpet, and anyways, wonderful stuff. And even near the end of his life, he was still making music, and two of his most famous recordings, Hello Dolly and What a Wonderful World, were both hits in the
Yes.
Like,
just classics.
True classics. Yeah. And he's influenced so many others, such an important figure. Then we have Eugen Berthold Friedrich Brecht, who was born on the 10th of February, 1898 in Augsburg, Königreich, Bayern, Deutsches Reich. Passed away on the 14th of August, 1956 in Berlin, Deutsches Demokratische Republik, German, more commonly known as Bertolt Brecht. From his, there. That would be Eugene, anglicized, Eugene Berthold Friedrich. Bertolt Brecht, German playwright, poet, theater director, and theater practitioner and reformer, whose epic theater departed from the conventions of theatrical illusion and developed drama as a social and ideological forum. Very different style of theater than was common back then. He was a Catholic, or his father was a Catholic and worked as a clerk in a paper factory. And his mother came from a Lutheran family. And when World War I broke out, he was only 16. So he tried to avoid going conscription by signing up as a medical student, because that was one of the exceptions that they had. But then he was still drafted into service in the autumn of 1918, posted to Augsburg as a medical orderly, but then the war ended a month later. So sounds like he avoided most of that. He had lots of relationships, and the profile goes through each of those and all of the offspring from there. So possibly a bit of drama in his own life.
Can we take a look at the grave photo? It looks so special. And he's there with his second wife.
Oh, look at that. Yes.
It's beautiful.
Where is that, in a churchyard, or does it say?
Let's see.
Berlin, it says.
Yeah, in Dorotheenstädtischer Friedhof in Berlin. What's a Friedhof? Let's see. Look up
That's
Friedhof.
nice.
Open in. Doesn't say Friedhof. Stadt is usually for the word Stadt means city, doesn't it? Der Stadt. Das Stadt.
Usually.
Friedhof is a cemetery.
It is a cemetery. I was thinking it must be, but I wasn't quite sure. Yeah. There we go. But that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's special.
Nice. Thank you for pointing that out, Vicki. Yeah. One of his most famous works was the Threepenny Opera. And Threepenny Opera. What music? What's music? Is Mac the Knife? Is that from the Threepenny Opera? The tune Mac the Knife?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with Threepenny Opera, other than by name.
I'm thinking there's something from there that's popular or became popular. I'm not sure. And if that was maybe someone in the chat. I'm only on one laptop. I can only see one screen. It's very restrictive.
Oh, deprivation.
Anyways, let's move on to Coco Chanel, born Gabrielle Chanel, 19th of August, 1883, in Saumur, Maine-et-Loire, France. Passed away at the age of 87 on the 10th of January in 1971. 71, isn't that when Louis passed away in 71? Yeah. Interesting. So, French fashion designer, businesswoman. She had, having read through her profile, which is, again, very long and goes through a lot of details of her life, which is very interesting. She's had many, many relationships, lovers, and whatnot, but no children and no actual marriages. But her sister passed away young and had a son who she fostered or took care of through her life. So that was, I guess, as close to a child as she had. Her mother was ill for most of her life, passed away from either tuberculosis or others just said poverty, pregnancy, and pneumonia were as likely to blame. She was sent to Notre Dame school, where she actually was first taught to sew, and then that became the root of her beginnings in fashion. She started making hats for friends, and then started a shop. They became popular, and then she added clothing to that, and eventually, the famous Chanel No. 5 perfume, which debuted in 1921. Which was the very first perfume that was ever named for a brand of clothing, which is interesting. Anyways, and the profile goes through lots of details through her life. She closed down her shop during World War II, moved to Switzerland, came back to France later in the 50s, the mid-50s, I believe it was. So very interesting character. Bertha May Crawford. So the one that I'm closest to, born in Elmvale, which really is only about a 40-minute drive from here, which is wild, and then passed away in Toronto, which is down the highway.
I'm close to her too, 20 degrees.
Are you? Oh, neat. Yeah, was it through your Canadian connection? Because you have a Canadian root.
Yes. Almost everything goes through my maternal grandfather. Yep. Yep, it sure is through my Canadian side.
That's great. So she is famous because she was a Canadian soprano. Lots of musicians this time.
Yes.
Wow.
20s was, there might not have been a lot of money going around, but there was a lot of music, at least. Canadian soprano made her. I mean, she was born and she died in Canada, but she made her success overseas, starting in Venice as in the role of Gilda in Rigoletto. She performed in Warsaw, daughter of a tailor. Started singing at the age of 8 in the local church, and became lead soprano in the Toronto church, and then eventually moved on and whatnot. So spending much of her career performing in Poland and Russia. So that would have been a very interesting career indeed. Greta Garbo, lovely actress, Swedish, born on 18th September 1905 in Katarina, Stockholm, Sverige, Sweden. Passed away in 1990 at the age of 84 in Manhattan, New York City. Managed by the Sweden Project. Notable Swedish-American actress born as Greta Lovisa Gustafsson in Katarina Parish. She was the daughter of Carl. And then her close friend, best friends and ally, Musha Moritz Stiller, was born in 1883 in Helsinki, Finland, who directed her in her first major role. They sailed off to the US to make other movies, and here's a list of some of the top 10 ones. But beautiful actress. Things. Let's see, there's 2 photos. There's one, and there's the other one. It is, I really do like how easy it is to go from one photo to another with this new character. It's very nice. You don't have to go to a separate page just to view them and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her post-Hollywood life was just as glamorous as her on-screen life. And it seems to me we've come across her profile before, because I remember these details about hanging out with the Rothschilds and Onassis.
Probably.
So then we have, what are we doing? Robert Hutchins Goddard. Goddard, as in rocket engines Goddard. So born in 1882 in Worcester in Massachusetts, and passed away in 1945 at the age of 62 in Baltimore, Maryland. And he is a rocket scientist. An actual literal rocket scientist. A physicist. He's considered the father of modern rocket propulsion, in fact, because of his advancements and how that propelled the space program, if you have it, and all the other advances. It rocketed because of his his first successful test using liquid rocket fuel. Received many awards, Congressional Medal, Guggenheim Medal, and the Langland Gold Medal. Passed away in Baltimore and is buried in the cemetery there. And NASA, of course, has dedicated a whole flight center in his name, the Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland.
He is. I'm all greens for him. He and I are 8th cousins once removed.
Oh wow, a direct cousin.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So now here, James Mercer Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes, let's just go back to here. Member of the Black Heritage Project. Poet, fiction writer, playwright, columnist, leader of the Harlem Renaissance, not resistance, Renaissance. Born 1st of February in Joplin, Missouri. Now, is there a connection between Scott Joplin, the composer of the Entertainer, and Joplin, Missouri? I wonder.
Interesting.
Anyways, he was a writer, activist. He was a son of a writer, activist. He grew up in Lawrence, Kansas, Lincoln, Illinois, and Cleveland, Ohio. Those 3 sort of main places. And despite those racial prejudices, he discovered early in life that he wanted to write poetry and held on to that dream. Fell in love with Harlem, New York. Not so happy with Columbia University. So he left there without finishing his degree, but he did get a degree somewhere else. It's written in here, Lincoln University. There we go. Inspiration from the streets of Harlem. Lots of information, or lots of stories about that in African-American life. Yeah, so I was looking at his ancestors, and why was I looking at? I can't remember why I was looking at his ancestors. His middle name came from his mother's last name, Langton there. There was some other reason, but I can't remember offhand. Let's move on. 4 more. Let's see how fast I can get through these. Buster Keaton, born as Joseph Frank Keaton, born 1895 in Woodpeaka in Kansas. Passed away at the age of 70, 1st February 1966 in LA, Los Angeles. His parents were vaudevillian comedians with a very physical and popular and ever-changing act. And he joined that act when he was young, I think at the age of 4, I believe it said. Yeah, he began acting with his parents. And they traveled around with a medicine show. If you remember what those were, like little sort of like traveling shows. Often with a snake oil salesman, like trying to sell questionable wares. But a family friend was none other than Harry Houdini. How cool is that?
Interesting.
They were friends with Harry Houdini.
Amazing.
Harry.
And the coolest thing is that Harry was the one who gave him his nickname.
Wow.
Buster, because when he was only 3 years old, he fell down a flight of stairs. Buster did, and Houdini caught him or picked him up at the end, dusted him off, and said, "Well, that fall was a real buster." Provoked his nickname, which stuck, and made famous. So that was very cool. There's some interesting pictures about him. So he was big in silent pictures. And then there's the Three Keatons. That was his parents and him were labeled as the Three Keatons. And Fatty Arbuckle was his friend and mentor and producer. They worked together until he was charged with murder. It didn't stick. He was not guilty and found not guilty, but it tarnished his name. That's Fatty Arbuckle, that is, not Buster. Fatty Arbuckle. So he had to stop acting because people just didn't want to see him anymore, which is unfortunate. Anyways, so he made lots of stuff in the silent era, but then he came back later and had his own TV show, in fact, the Buster Keaton Show on TV. And then that sort of revitalized his career again, and so on. And then here we have all the genealogical records and stuff at the end. Charles Lindbergh, Sr., the aviator, the pilot, very famous, of course, because of the sad story about the kidnapping of his son, 2-year-old son, Charles Jr., who they did not retrieve alive in time, unfortunately, had been murdered. So that's very sad. And that tainted the rest, basically changed the rest of his life, as you can imagine it would for anyone. Born in February 8, 1902 in Detroit, Michigan, passed away the 26th of August, 1974 at the age of 72 in Hawaii, Kipahulu, Maui, Hawaii. Third child of Swedish immigrants. And he went to University of Wisconsin, but yeah, Medal of Honor, all of his accommodations there, and then as a pilot. But then, of course, the big thing that people know him for is that tragedy in the middle of his life there. He passed away of lymphoma, sadly. Then we have Evelyn Waugh, Arthur Evelyn St. John Waugh, born the 20th of October 1903 in West Hampstead in London, England. Passed away at the age of 62 in 1966 in Somerset, England. He had a very varied life. He's known as a British novelist, journalist, and reviewer, considering one of the leading writers of the 20th century, best known for his novels Brideshead Revisited, Decline and Fall, which he wrote in 1928, one of the earlier, and then Handful of Dust in 1934. Now, I can't say I've read any of those. Have either of you?
It's not an author I've read.
No.
Nope.
No.
I wonder if any of our UK listeners are more familiar with his work. I'm familiar with the name Evelyn Waugh, but I have not actually read any of that. The profile, again, goes through a lot of detail. Early on in his life, when he was at Oxford, he had several significant homosexual relationships, LGBT relationships as they're listed here, and talks about that. Considered bisexual, and then went on to have marriages and children. So, so very interesting. Life very varied, and yeah. Anyways, lots of details here. And then the last one is Babe Ruth, the slugger. Born February 1895 in Baltimore, Maryland, and passed away age 53, too young again, in 1948, 16th of August. The Sultan of SWAT, the Bambino, Babe Ruth. American, of course, American Major League Baseball player, played from 1914 to 1935. So like that's a 21-year career. That's pretty amazing in sports.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Like that's when you think of all the training that it takes and all the pounding that it takes out on your body, that's a lot of work. One of the greatest sports heroes of all time. And why I've never ever been considered any sports hero. One of the most celebrated baseball personalities in history, several records in the MLB, including a 690 career slugging percentage. Wow, like that's not just like half the time you always hit. That's almost like that's over 2/3 of the time you're slugging it. That's pretty amazing. 1.164 career on base plus slugging. That's wild. Attributed with bringing notoriety to the sport of baseball and give a name to the live ball era. And Yankee Stadium, of course, where he ended up playing for most of his career, known as the house that Ruth built, because of his popularity and thus the popularity of the Yankees. Great profile, again, details lots of things that I don't have time to go through, but you should read if you're not already familiar with Babe and his career. So those are your profiles.
Yay! You did it. Wow.
But now I have to switch gears. So great to see you, Deb. I wish I had time to stay and chat and learn more and find out more about you. But anyways, congratulations again on your being chosen as WikiTree of the Week, member of the week. And I will see you all again next Saturday.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, Ray.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Well, so now let's move to the interview, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Deb, let's get to know you a little more.
Okay.
You're mainly active on the Norway project. Is that right?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time working on Norwegian profiles, a little bit on Swedish profiles. And I have tried to combine my dating activities with the Norway by finding profiles that are likely to be Norway. There's been several JudComs that have had a lot of Norway profiles in them, and a lot of profiles that cross from Norway into the US, because I'm able to navigate the records on both sides. So.
Oh, and that's why. But do you have Norwegian ancestors?
Yes. Yeah. Three of my great-grandparents, or three sets. No, three of my great-grandparents came over from Norway.
Cool.
And one of my great-grandparents came from Sweden. She was actually first-generation American. Her parents were the actual immigrants.
Oh, look, we have a comment for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tia.
Thank you.
Extremely impressive work. Great. Yeah, we're all grateful for that. Thank you, Deb. And why or how did you become interested in genealogy? What's your story?
Oh, when I was in third grade, we had to do a family tree for class. And most people did their parents and their grandparents and their siblings. And when I was working on mine, my mom pulled out this book that we had that went back to my 7th great grandfather.
Whoa. And it doesn't sound like it was a family Bible, or was it?
No, it wasn't a family Bible. It was a family history book.
Wow. And you were 8, right?
I was 8. Yep.
Just 8. Wow.
Your mom was saying she's going to get an A on this paper. I'm going to.
I'm sure she was.
I bet. And I hope you did. I hope you did.
I'm sure I did. I don't remember, but I remember having fun making the tree and hey, I'd like to learn more about these people. And then as I got older, I'm like, well, what about my other grandparents?
Of course.
Can I trace those back?
Right. I have 2 questions, 2 follow-up questions.
Sure.
Do you still have the family history book?
I do still have the family history book and the newer version that came out in 2012. And I am also helping on the version that should come out in the next 2 to 4 years.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. And do you know much about the person who did the first version? Like, who was it in
I do not know who did the first version. I do know the person who did most of the work on the 2012 version. Okay. She may have been active in the 73 version, which is what my mom had pulled out. There was an earlier version.
Wow.
And that was actually based on a book by Henry Conard.
Okay.
They kept changing the spelling of the name and the pronunciation of the name. So this is my Conard line, and the person who came over in 1683, his name was I think it's pronounced Tennis Kunders. It's spelled Thonnes, and he was part of the Crayfield 13, which are some of the original Quaker settlers in Philadelphia area. And he did not sign this document, but 4 other men had met at his house and signed anti-slavery document in the late 1600s.
Wow.
It didn't really get anywhere at that time, a little too early, but some people have credited it as the basis of the Gettysburg Address.
Wow.
Okay. And you enjoy, outside of genealogy, you enjoy sketching, reading, sewing crafts.
Yep.
So you're always like sewing, either it's ancestors or or embroidery, knitting. That's great. So during COVID, you worked a lot on your genealogy, right?
Yeah, I didn't really get started until COVID because I didn't really have the time.
Well, many of us did during COVID.
Yes.
The pandemic.
Lots of us found time. Additionally, my child became an adult during that time.
Wow.
So
that's great. And you talked. Sorry, you told us about your dating activity, but you really meant your Friday night dating activity.
Yes.
So what do you like about that?
I like being able to find information about people just in general, and actually getting from, okay, this person may have existed to this person has a history we can find out more about them. And I hope it's helpful to the relatives, since most of these people aren't related to me. Although I have found some people that were related to me in my dating activities.
Neat. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. And that's how you got into WikiTree, right?
I originally got into WikiTree because I had Googled my husband's grandmother and found a profile for her on WikiTree.
Wow.
It turns out that the profile had been created by my husband's third cousin, who lives in 2 towns over. My husband has absolutely no interest in meeting him.
Oh, that's sad. But I'm sure you were interested.
Yes, yeah. Now, have I met him? No.
No. But of course, you're the one who builds your husband's tree, right?
Right.
He's not interested at all.
He's not interested at all. His sister is interested. So, and hopefully at some point my daughter will be interested.
Yeah, for your descendants, of course.
Yeah.
And you have these books. It sounds so interesting to have. You're so lucky.
Yeah. There have been people. I'm actually going to a reunion in June. It's the 121st reunion of the descendants of John and Sarah Connard in Pennsylvania. So people have been working on that genealogy for 125 years at least.
Wow, that's awesome. Maybe you can build a free space page for that event.
I think there might already be one, but I will check that out.
Ooh. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I'd like to highlight what you said about what you do on WikiTree, and you mentioned when you talked about your dating activity, you spend the most time finding sources for undated profiles. But I like what you say after this. You say it makes the tree stronger, helps people find their ancestors, and helps avoid duplicates on the tree.
Yes.
That's we love what you've done, and well, Tia was there to as a witness of that. So thank you for all your hard work.
Yes,
you're improving our tree. Yeah, and you like to write biographies, right?
Yeah. Well, I like to have at least something, not just a blank box. So I tend to use the Sorcerer bio stuff, sometimes AutoBio. I think AutoBio puts too much stuff in with all the census, but so I'll typically rewrite that if I use AutoBio. I try not to use AutoBio a lot, but
but you prefer that instead of leaving it blank.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. That's perfect. So thank you, Deb, for saying yes to our invitation and for sharing with us. And it's been great to have you here. And I know you have to leave in a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll stick around for, I've got 10 minutes.
Yeah, then you can say,
I'll just
say goodbye whenever you want.
Okay.
Right. Because now we're going to see the profile makeover. So if I'm not watching you because I'll be sharing my screen, but please, Betsy, you tell me when Deb is leaving so we can say goodbye.
Okay, will do.
Okay, well, let's see that profile makeover. You know, it's the last weekend of the month. So I'll share. Last week I realized we have a lot of makeovers related to flowers. That was the suggested theme for the month. So I'll share not only one makeover, but I have like 5. So I'll be really quick. I'm sorry, I won't give you too much detail, but I'd like to show you Melissa's Jamieson. Melissa usually works on unknown profiles, and she found a Lily unknown. We also will see Lin Yang's the profile of Flossie, which means blooming, and Tafinas, which means garland. So we'll take a look at those two profiles first. So this is the profile of Lily May. She was an unknown. I won't show you the before because we have so much to see through. But look at this profile. Did you notice that now with this display, the background photo looks different? So maybe we should all look into our old profiles where we used these background pictures and see how they look now. Maybe they will look weird.
Some of them look better than others. Yes.
Right. But this looks just great, and it's so delicate.
Love it.
And see how these colors combine. It looks perfect with the new design. So we have now a proper biography and sources. We have a gravestone picture photograph, and these tables, the census tables, which I love. I know not all of you love them, but I do. And and this is the profile made by the makeover made by Lin Yang, and this is Flossie, which means garland or blooming, I guess it was. Let's see. She says Flossie means blooming. Yes. And this is the profile of Flossie. This is a background photo that looks really, really great. You know, Deb, you know what this technique would be? It's something like crochet. Maybe? I'm not really sure.
It
looks like
more
something
like
knitted.
padding to me.
Yeah, well, but it looks beautiful, and we have a beautiful photograph of Flossie and 34 photographs. I love looking through these photographs of sources. I love these old pictures and seeing their names. There's a lot of info here, and the before picture of this was no biography, just a year of when she was born and when she died, and now look at this whole biography with sources. It's an amazing work by Lynn.
I'm going to need to check that one out in more detail. I grew up in Minneapolis area.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, well, I shared the link after this. And now we have, let's see, our next profiles. This is by Marjorie Allen. She shared the profile of George Norton, who loved and propagated the blue gentian flower worldwide. And this is George. We have a nice picture of George and a whole biography about his work. And he wrote articles about the blue gentian. He says, we can read that those articles, he got involved in sending blue gentian seeds to people all over the world, asking only for a self-stamped envelope from them. That's amazing. And this is a quote from one of his articles. From this planting of some 15 years ago, I have been taking many crops of seeds which have been planted in different places suitable for the growing of the frigid gentian. So he really spread, not only spread the word, but the seeds of the gentians. So if you're wondering what a blue gentian looks like,
they're gorgeous.
This is a flower. So maybe if you see it in your country, maybe it's something that George sent. What do you know? So that's a great, interesting biography that we should all read. So interesting. People who writes an article probably has a lot to say. And this is the biography of Tafinas. And Tafinas meant, I saw that before.
That was the
Tafinas garland, right? Garland. Also made by Lin Yang. And then we have the profile. Well, I'll let you know after this. Well, Tafinas, what a name. you know, this is a picture or a background that looks great in this format. You
It
can totally
does.
see that. Yeah,
It,
it looks awesome.
it looks almost like the background of painting on furniture. I could just sort of imagine that
Oh,
it's painted on wood. I don't know why I'm maybe it's because of the background color, but
yes, but it probably is. Yeah, maybe furniture or yeah, some kind of table. I
Mhm.
don't know, like a plate or something.
To me, it looks like
Maybe.
embroidery on a linen.
I
Yeah.
think it's yeah, maybe a platter or something. Well, there's a short biography, but there's also a book. This is interesting. A photo of a narrative of the town of Mekias, the old and the new, the early and late. That's amazing. And there's Tafinas,
Yeah.
who married Stephen Manson. That's a special name, right? Tafinas.
I've never heard it before.
No,
Yeah.
but it means garland. Well,
Nice.
we learn a lot every day.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And finally, we have Marcia Richardson. She made her grandfather's profile. He was a member of the, I'm sorry, Muriavanside Horticultural Society and won several awards. And this is a profile of James MacDonald Fawcett.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this beautiful background. It looks awesome. And we have also, look at this picture. He was handsome. We have 8 photos. Oh, oh, this looks amazing. Look at this.
Oh,
It's kind
wow.
of a certificate of naturalization.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And we have a biography, more about his winning. He won awards. A fuchsia. I love that flower. So we have a lot of makeovers about flowers. So
Yeah.
it was really interesting. And also Marcia said that her mother painted a picture and she said she uploaded a photograph, but I don't see it here. Oh, maybe it's private. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I really wanted to see this photograph. So
Hmm.
maybe if you're watching, Marcia, please upload the pictures. Oh, she painted some flowers.
Oh,
So these are all the the profile makeovers for April. I'm still thinking about, I have the idea for the next month. I've inspired through different things. This was inspired by spring, but next month I will inspire in Chile, because in Chile, May is the month of the sea. So everything about Navy, um, sailors, the sea, someone who maybe immigrated, maybe who was a sailor or a merchant sailor. So please use that inspiration if you want. It's optional for your makeover.
I like that.
Do you like? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I have a lot of ancestors related to sea, so
Yeah.
I'll have a hard time choosing one. Well,
Yeah, when we were doing profile of the week with Greg, I realized that I do have a flower in my direct lines. I have a
oh,
sixth great grandmother whose maiden name was Rose, Abigail Rose.
oh.
So
Ah.
I don't know. Someone else is the profile manager, and I don't know how much time I have over the next 4 days.
Oh, you do. But just a small touch could
Yeah,
mean a great difference. So
yeah.
you don't have to take all the time.
Right. I certainly will look at her profile and learn more about her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are you showing us now, Betsy?
Um,
What will you
well,
share with us?
well, let's see.
Before Betsy starts, I'm going to say goodbye.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much for being with
Yep.
us.
Great.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
And there were a couple of comments, I didn't catch them fast enough about well, first of all, I love this when you said you were going to show several
Oh,
a bouquet of makeovers, and then
yes.
one against the blue background where you are wondering what kind of needlework it was. We had a couple of guesses.
Uh-huh.
And then let's see what
I
else.
thought it was crochet. It looked
Yeah,
like
Amanda thought it was embroidery,
embroidery.
and then whoops, no, that's not right.
Oh, that's about fiordalisi, because fiordalisi means flower, corn
Oh,
flower.
it means my last name is Fiordalisi, which means it means cornflower seen in many cornfields. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, great idea for the theme this month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you for everyone who joined the challenge.
Yeah. Great. Well, yesterday was important for a couple of reasons that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are more, but well, for one thing, it was Anzac Day, and I don't. Do you know much about that? I'm still learning. And one thing I learned yesterday is that Anzac is an acronym. So it's celebrated in Australia, New Zealand, and so that's the start
Oh.
of the acronym. And Australia, New Zealand Army Corps. So it is their Remembrance Day for those who served and gave their lives for their
Oh.
yeah. So our thoughts are with our friends from New Zealand and Australia.
Mhm.
So it's apparently a fix. It's always April 25th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Amanda could tell us something about that.
And there's a project. Okay. Maybe we could find the link to that if you wanna search, or someone wants to search. The other thing that happened yesterday was it was DNA Day. And
Yay!
in honor of that, I wore my WikiTree DNA shirt.
Hey, yeah.
Have
Great
you
idea.
DNA tested, Vicki?
Yes,
Yeah.
twice.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Me too. Only autosomal with Ancestry, but I did mitochondrial as well. And for anyone who's watching, who's new to WikiTree, you can link your DNA results to your profile, and then what happens is that it propagates through. It then automatically becomes linked to your parents' profiles, and anything that the paper trail says should be a DNA match, it will show up on their profile. Like on my grandparents, it will say, Betsy was will have a 25% match. It's a theoretical percentages, not, I know, like past parents, it can vary. But so that is a great, thank you, Azure. So that is a great way to connect with cousins, because you might happen upon your ancestor's profile on WikiTree and notice a DNA tester that you weren't aware of. So
Yeah, that you can be related.
yeah. So let me share my screen. The question of the week along those lines was, what are your DNA? What are your ethnicity percentages? Do you know yours?
I know mine, but it was updated not long ago on
Right.
MyHeritage. They
Right.
updated the algorithm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check on that.
Right. So I am, well, 50% Chinese, so no surprise there. And then my mom's side, 32% England and Northwest Europe, and 18% Scotland.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Yes. So yeah, go ahead, please.
No, mine changed after that algorithm change, and I haven't updated on my profile, but I'm sort of like 50% American, like Chilean,
Yep.
about 25% Spanish and 20% Scandinavian, German,
Oh,
something.
interesting. And is there anything surprising there, or does it match your paper research?
Oh, no, not at all. Not surprising.
Yeah.
Yes, it matches. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
A little bit of English too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I have to, there was an opportunity with MyHeritage to upload your DNA to MyHeritage. So my DNA is on there as well. And I should see what if my ethnicity estimates are different with their algorithm. But,
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
It changed a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, this week I'm not going to go through all the answers. We have 82 answers, very
Wow.
numeric, very number heavy, but interesting on what people are saying about. Like the Chris Ferriolo. I am still 50% pasta sauce. That's funny. So yeah, I think the important thing to remember with the ethnicity estimates, like you were saying, Vicki, is they do change. Because the testing pool gets bigger and the companies are able to update their algorithm to represent that. So you will get an email when they do that, but it's worth paying attention to.
Yeah. And you should look into your MyHeritage estimation because it was driving me crazy. My father had like 20% Italian. I had 12% Italian, and I had no idea where it came from. So I was like researching like crazy.
Yeah.
And it turns out there was no Italian DNA after the update. So, well,
Yeah. Yeah. I have seen significant changes. Well, all right, not significant, but noticeable changes. It's now very compact, 3 areas. Boom, boom, boom. There were some
right.
little like, ooh, what's this 2%? And so great. Well, happy DNA Day, everybody. And let's see, we have one photo to look at, and it's on 2 screens. This is shared by Sue Wyatt. She couldn't load it to the G2G post, but we're going to look at it in a second. It's a photo of her parents. The theme this month is couples. And her parents, before they got married, they were both square dancers from different clubs in Hobart. I wonder if you mean Hobart, Indiana. We'll have to look. In the early 1950s, Mom had represented Tasmania. No, you're probably not talking about Hobart, Indiana. Tasmania in national competitions when she was only 16. Wow. Okay, let's have a look. So
Please tell me they're dancing.
they're not dancing, unfortunately.
Oh.
Bob Wyatt and Phyllis England, square dancing couple.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
look at them.
Oh,
Yeah.
they look stunning. They look so charming and happy.
They look perfectly paired.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. Scan from Family Connection, and do we have the location? No. Title. I don't see the oh, let's see. Yes. Hobart, Tasmania, Australia. Okay. 1952. Well, thank you so much, Sue. That is a great photo. And
Lovely.
Yeah. And then we have 5 ancestors to celebrate today.
Wow.
So let's get to it. Let's see. Um, so first was shared by Fairly Tonery, and she wanted to celebrate her brother Joe. He would have been
Oh.
65 on April 11 this year. He had a kind, loving heart and a hard work ethic. I'm going to make this a little bigger for everyone. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I didn't realize I would lose it. Okay.
We'll get to it.
Yep, a hard work ethic. He raised his son with the help of his mother-in-law after losing his wife when the baby was only 5.
Oh.
He worked security for the local hospital for 30 years before cancer forced his retirement. We lost Joe on October 14th, 2020, but I still think of him often. And when I'm excited or sad, I think I should call Joe and then remember I can't. That's one of the hardest
Oh.
things. I will always love and miss him until we are together again. I love you, Joe. So I don't think that we had any pictures. No, there's no pictures of Joe, but he sounds like a really, really wonderful man. So thank you, Fairly, for sharing him with us.
And we're celebrating him too.
Yes. Then Kevin, I'm sorry. I'm going to do my best with your last name, Huygens, I think. He writes, April 29th, which is coming up, is a sad day for me. It's the date when both my paternal grandmother and my mother died in 1979 and 2014, respectively. His grandmother is Julia Kane, and he has a full bio. We'll have a look. And he says, 11 years later, and I still cannot find whatever it takes to write my mom's bio. But there are some pictures of her and a brief bio. So that's, we all travel the path of grief at different speeds. There's no right or wrong. I'm so sorry for your loss, Kevin. Well, let's look at Julia's profile. So she was, he notes at one point that, when she had to give her name for legal purposes, it was Mary Julia, but she went by Julia, born and died in Nebraska. And let's see what else. Irish ancestors. And one thing that Kevin has done so well. By the way, well, I'll get to that. I'm going to rave about his research notes, but let me get there. So Kevin is the son of his youngest, child in the family. I always find it interesting so she was married to a Joseph, but they didn't name their first son. Well, they gave him Joseph for a middle name, but it wasn't until they got to the 7th child that they used. They were like, all right, we'll name
Right.
after you. So I'm glad they got to do that. She grew up on her parents' farm, and her husband was a farmer as well. And then these research notes are really excellent. They're like Kevin's to-do list. So he's really told us why he thinks this or that and what he still has to find. Also need to see vital records for her other children, things about looking for exact addresses, baptismal records. He needs to pinpoint which school did she go to parochial school or public school. So really that this is what we love to see on research notes. And
and it's a great hint for cousins.
Absolutely.
Maybe if you find cousins, they can help you with that.
Of course, yes. So we've got 18 photos of Julia. Now, the other really nice feature is where we can look at the gallery, just like I click the button and I can see a beautiful bride. And there are pictures here of Kevin as a little guy. There's Kevin.
Oh, there he
And
is.
his grandmother. There's
That's sweet.
one more where he's even littler.
Oh,
So thank you, Kevin.
wow.
And we also want to honor your mom because I thought, wait a minute. Yes. I thought, yes, pictures. So it looks like Kevin's family has a great tradition of family reunions and gatherings. So look at this family reunion, 1972. Oh, you've got some twins in the family. I can see that over here. And yeah, and there are pictures of Kevin's mother as a little girl with her mother.
Wow.
Oh, there she is.
It's a big family.
Yes. Yeah. So we celebrate both of these wonderful women in your family. Thank you, Kevin.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And then wait a minute. I'm back on photos. Celebrate. Celebrate. Did I lose it?
We went back to photos. Yeah, maybe you closed the.
I might have. Wait, no, I'm okay. I have
Sorry.
too many tabs. Let's see. Okay, here I found myself. Okay, so M. Ross wanted to celebrate my husband's third great grandmother, Emmeline Unger, married name McClellan. And she previously talked about her in this thread, which I read. I only had a chance to read briefly, but the gist was trying to establish connection, the family's connection to the Mennonite community, and in Canada. And Esther passed, her connection to April is that she passed away on April 24th, 1886, 139 years ago. And she and her husband were among the first settlers in the area in Ontario, Canada. They had 12 children. One of her daughters died at 16, another at 37. Of the other 10 children, 3 died in the late 1890s, 3 in the 1900s, and 4 in the 1910s. She talks about one child where she had a research question. This child was born so young that she married before the census, so M couldn't find her in the household with her parents. That's always making me a little nervous. But her maiden name is given on the marriage record of several children, also on the death record of some of her children. Yeah, that's reassuring. And her maiden name is also on her headstone. So I think I should have opened. Let's see. There we go, Emmeline. So yes, we have a nice biography here. Headstone transcription. No photos. Yeah. And great research notes. So, yeah, I really want to go back. You all might have heard me mention before, and Greg brings it up. I have a connection to Ontario, Canada as well. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to give this a more thorough read. But thank you, Em. Thank you for sharing Emmeline with us.
That's a lovely name.
Yes.
Emmeline.
Yeah. And Victor is in the chat, and he is sharing his husband's great uncle, whose connection is being born in April 2nd, 1902. I'm going to try and work some more on him tonight, get it a bit more fleshed out. I will make sure to refresh, Victor. See, maybe you did something this morning even. I was really planning on focusing on my mother-in-law's line this month, but life. So we will do her line for the rest of this month and May. So both Samuel Leonard's parents were born in Italy, as well as his oldest brother, Frank. I'm going to be reading Fortify Your Family Tree quite extensively over the coming month, since the author describes how to use Italian records quite extensively. So there's a little hint for anyone who is doing Italian research. Check out that book. It sounds like Italy, along with the Antenate website, has a lot of online scanned images. And since hubby works out to at least half Italian total, I should be getting a lot of use out of it. Great. So let's have a look at Samuel's profile. There he is. Oh, and I was going to refresh. There we go.
And that surname, if it's Italian, it should be pronounced Lauri.
Lauri, yeah.
Lauri.
Now
Lauri,
I have a question. There's a surname that you see a lot in the United States, Lowry, Lowry, and I'm wondering, would that be like an Americanization of this name? I wonder.
Or maybe French. It sounds French to me, like Laurie.
Yeah,
maybe.
Could be no connection. It just, when you said it, it made me.
It sounds.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
There are names that are like adapted in Italy, France, Spanish.
Right. So he was born in Pennsylvania, but was in New York, Niagara Falls, New York, by the end of his life. And his parents' names very, very, very clearly Italian: Benedito and Lucia. Very nice. And then he married Teresa Corsaro about 1922. So, yeah, I hope you have some photos that you'll be able to add, Victor. And so happy birthday, quite belated to Samuel. And then our last ancestor to celebrate is Thomas Andrew Fortner, and this is shared by Henry Martin. A very, very moving story. He grew up in a small town called Mount Willing, Alabama. And at 18, he married Mary Ackerman. They had 2 children, James and Dosey. And the children were born around the Civil War period. And her father, Thomas, enlisted in the Confederate Army, and then he died in the battle. So this tragic loss took a twist when a soldier from Kentucky fought alongside Thomas in those battles, and that man was Drakeford Gray, who is Henry's great grandfather. Yeah. So Thomas was mortally wounded, dated June 30th, 1864, killed at Fight Pumpkin Vine. Fortner was promised that his wife would be cared for. Gray kept his promise, moving to Alabama to marry his fallen comrade's wife on November 2, 1864, himself having been discharged due to injury. This story speaks to loyalty and love. Drakeford and Mary would raise the Fortner children, the two children of Thomas, and 10 of their own.
10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the 4th child born, Minnie, was Henry's great-grandmother.
Amazing.
Wow. And I have to wonder, from a research standpoint, how you uncovered that story. Was wow. some family.
I want to see photos of them.
I
need to see
know.
photos. Need to see their faces.
Right. Well,
Wow.
1860s. So let's see. Henry. Okay, so we're going to hop around a little bit. So here is Thomas, who, as you can see, passed too soon, and then
Wow.
he was married. Okay, so no photos, but if we go to his wife, Mary Ackerman. Okay, we go there, then that gets us to Drakeford. So there's Mary and Drakeford. And so she lived, let's see, she lived until 1908 and he lived until 1887. So there could be photos, certainly of her, maybe not of him.
So we'll just have to imagine them.
Yeah.
And there are 10 children. Well,
10
12
children. Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, Henry, for sharing that. It's really just a beautiful story. And that is what I have.
Wow.
Do you want to tell us what's coming up, Vicki, or do you want me to? I have it pulled
If
up.
you have it,
I
okay.
do.
I don't have it.
Let me go back and take you to there. Okay. Do you see what's happening?
Yes.
Yes. Great.
Yes.
Okay. So almost to the end of April. I don't know where it went. So let's see. Yes, everything was featured around DNA. DNA. Connect-a-thon cleanup. I just checked my suggestions from the thon. How about you? Have you had time, Vicki?
I haven't looked at that, but I did so little profiles, just like 18 profiles. So
me too.
I probably have no suggestions. I'll take a look. Yeah.
I did even fewer than you because I got stuck down the biggest rabbit hole, but I feel really good about untangling this family, and I had a few suggestions. So suggestions are out. So check those out, everyone. Yeah. So let's see. Coming up, here we are. We are here. So there's a Saturday sourcing sprint going on right now. Tomorrow we have a new member Zoom with me and Murray Maloney, and I think Hillary Gadsby is not going to be with us tomorrow, but she's a normal co-host, and Stephen Greenwood. There is a Tech Talk on Monday evening, and Tech Talk is a new feature, which is Murray is deeply involved in, and it's some of our developers and our creators of the apps and extensions that everybody love. They get on Zoom with you and allow everybody to ask questions in real time, and learn more about how to use all our tools. So I highly recommend that. And it is both the new member Zoom and Tech Talk are recorded. So if you can't make it live, then you can watch it later. We
on YouTube.
On YouTube. Stay tuned for question of the week and the 52 ancestors theme. We have links builder challenge going on, and yes, we will find out what the connections checkers theme is for coming. So next week we will have turned the next week will be in May, so we'll have a new photo theme. We'll have as Vicki was saying, a new profile makeover theme, which will be C, and yeah. So let's see.
And we can still post photos of couples.
Absolutely.
Or what's left.
That is always open. So let's see. We've got over here same things I've already mentioned. The one name study for this week will be Helberg. One place study will be Cato Ridge in KwaZulu Natal. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that, yeah. We're featuring the South African project. And the Hall of Fame will be Premium Imperial.
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 Okay. Are you related or connected to Athol?
Huh. Wait a minute. So what I need to know more. Okay. All right. So we're highlighting South African genealogy. So that's his connection. And everyone check out Fugard 8 and see how you're connected. And then we're back to us next Saturday.
Yay! And I'm sure Dalisi is asking if we have a tip for today. I think our tip of the day is look at your suggestions after every connectathon.
Yes, after every thon and see. And what I love about our connections, our suggestions, is that a lot of times the data doctors have done like a 3 to 5 minute YouTube video, like
Yes.
okay,
to explain how to fix them.
What do I do about it? Yeah. Yep.
How to fix them, and if you have played a little game called Mystery Box, you probably have learned a lot about fixing suggestions.
Yeah.
So that's a good tip too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to take us out, Vicki?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's great to we have had a lot of fun and meeting Deb, seeing you, Betsy, again, and having our regular hosts again back. So thank you everyone for being with us and for sharing your pictures, your posts, and your comments. So
and
it's
your
great
ancestors. You're sharing your traits.
Oh yeah. And your memories. Yeah, it's been an emotional day. We had quite a stories. So thank you everyone. Have a great weekend and see you next weekend.
Okay. All right.
Betsy's. And see you tomorrow?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. See you.